Riders, welcome to my channel. I'm Wild Rider, where we discuss motorcycle related content, mostly. But this is going to be more of a Tales... I can do that better. Tales of the YouTube Biker. Or Tales of the YouTube Rider. There we go. So, this story is pretty much one in which I do to get to know people, to get to see what their outcome in life is. Whatever you want to do it, but it's a good icebreaker story. So the story starts out as I'm sitting inside a bar, having chicken wings, having a beer, watching whatever's on the TV. Sitting there chatting with the cute bartender. Typically what I do when I go to the bar by myself. Well, when the regulars comes in, I don't know the guy that well, and he sits probably about 2 stools away. We start chatting up, and now this guy has been known to whine a lot, from my understanding, and likes to blame others for his past mistakes in life. So he brings up the fact that how his life would have been better if he actually had a father figure in his life. I says, oh? How's that? So he goes back to when he was about 10 years old or so, in which his father goes off, leaves for a pack of cigarettes. Now he tells me that his dad had lost his job probably about 2 weeks prior. Him and his mom were fighting before his father left to go get the cigarettes. You know, the proverbial cigarettes or milk or whatever. And after that, he never seen his father again. So he gets smacked around by various boyfriends of his mother. Mother doesn't have really good taste in men, but wants to try to provide a father figure or whatever for her son, but it doesn't really work out. He ends up with lots of troubles in his life. I said, well, let's back up to about your father going out for the pack of cigarettes. So you just told me that your father was going out for a pack of cigarettes. He had lost his job. And from what it sounded like, your parents were living paycheck to paycheck. And your mom had a certain type of lifestyle. I says, yeah. Says, well, you ever think that maybe your father, out of a move of desperation, decided to, I don't know, go rob a convenience store or try to rob a place that night, figuring he'd be able to get away with it, and decides to, or gets caught robbing the place by the cops and ends up in jail. Says, well, I'm pretty sure my mom would have told me about that. Says, well, what if your mom decided she didn't like the marriage as it was and decided to get out of it? We're doing a bunch of speculation here, but let's go with this scenario. Your mother sees an opportunity in order to get out, divorces your father while he's inside jail. Your dad's probably going to be spending about 10 to 15 years in jail. That's going to be without you having a father. But you ever think that maybe if your father had gone to jail, maybe he had written you because you're his son? Well, that's a lot of speculation, man. I really can't really believe that. Besides, I'll never be able to confirm it because my mom's dead. I said, well, you got any of her old stuff or any of that stuff around? So, yeah, I'm still living in that house. It's like, well, why don't you go search around inside there, see if you might be able to find anything that your mother might have hidden or anything like that. This is, man, you're getting a little bit too detailed into this. It's like, well, it doesn't take much in order to just do an investigation. You'd be amazed at what you could find on certain things. I mean, you could go check on YouTube and find about a bunch of stories in regards might be similar in your case. Alright, I'll give it a try or whatever. We continue to talk, changing subject. So probably about a couple months later, I'm in the same bar. New bartender, chatting with her, not him, her. Yeah. And in comes the dude. Trailing behind is an older gentleman. I look at him, look at the older gentleman, look back. See a lot of similarities in the features and such. I'm like, huh. Alright. Guy sees me, sits down next to me, talks to me, and says, you know what, dude? I did do what you suggested. Probably took me a few days to do it, but I went ahead, looked around in my mom's house, found inside a closet a shoebox with a bunch of letters from the Michigan State Penitentiary. And it was my father sending me a letter about every week. Was inside this box for about 10 years. It's like, for 10 years? I would have given up after a few if I didn't receive anything back from you. It's like, yeah. He brings that up inside there. I'm sitting there reading through all these letters, and I realized my mom hid this from me. My dad had been in contact with one of my relatives and finding about information and stuff. In fact, this is him right here, and he introduces me to the older gentleman there. And which tells me that the father ended up becoming a mechanic, and once he got out of jail, he got out on early parole, so only a of 10 versus the 15, which he was actually went to jail for. Which 5 years of parole, and I think he did 2 years on parole, and then the rest of his sentence, like, you're good to go. So he's telling me how he's getting back in touch with his father and such, and they're going out, getting reacquainted and stuff. And the guy's now seeing a therapist in regards to directing all his blaming others for his problems versus actually for himself. I think, well, that's good, man. Good to hear it. Says, I kind of wish I would have met you probably about a few years ago. Could have gotten us taken care of because my dad's got stage 4 cancer. Doesn't have much longer to live. I says, I'm sorry to hear that. I guess the moral of the story is that someone else is always going to have a different perspective in regards to how things are versus how you see them. But that's my tale of YouTube biker stories, or YouTube rider stories, or whatever you want to call it. But I hope you enjoyed this tale. I'm Wild Rider. Ride safe, and I'll see you in the next ride.